Hey, what's up guys? Got a new day here and we're gonna start on the ground with grade board. So Greg's getting that cut up and installed right now. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up some bracing as well as start building our window boxes so we can get those framed in. So let's get into it. So you can see right here our grade board concrete detail, and we've got this foam filler strip that is compressible to 1/4 inch up to 1 inch. So if there's any inconsistencies in between the grade board and the concrete, it will expand up to 1 inch and close that gap, giving us a nice seal between our building and the foundation. So that's how that detail is taken care of. Remember also this building, and I don't know if I've said this, but this building is going to be spray foamed, so that's going to give an additional level of protection on air sealing from the foundation to the outside wall. So this is a good example of why we mill down our lumber, because it's not consistent. This guy got milled down to 5 3/8, and so did this one. Now if we were to use those two boards in conjunction to each other, the jamb would be a different width, whether it was on one side or the other, and potentially causing issues down the road when we go to trim out the interior. So by milling down our lumber, we're going to get a more consistent box for our window to set in, which is going to give us a better opportunity for a good quality trim install later on. Tell you what, I am always impressed with the DeWalt FlexVolt table saw, man. I just used one full 9 amp hour battery, and I've got 2 bars left on my second battery, and I just ripped down all of this 2x material. If I were to venture to guess, 320 linear foot? About 300 foot.
I'll say about 300.
Yeah, there's about 300 linear foot of 2x material, 1 battery, and 1 bar on the second battery. Not bad. Now I can put all these windows together. So I'm going to go ahead and screw these boxes, but then I'm just going to also throw a couple ring shank nails in just for an additional holding power. But the screws are used to make sure everything is drawn in nice and tight. you know, because lumber's not perfect, we got this cup and this board. That's not really a big deal for the window, because as long as my dimensions are accurate at the points, this is going to be dead space inside the cavity. If nothing else, it's going to give me more space for some foam in between the window and the frame. Alright, so now that I have all the windows built, Greg's wrapping up the rest of the blocking right this minute. I'm going to start laying out the location. So we do have a plan. It's on my phone. And I'm going to have to deviate from this plan potentially, as long as it doesn't affect the layout of the window too much in the room. But with a steel siding, I have to be cognizant and make sure that the edges of my windows are always away from a rib. I don't want them ending in a rib, and this building specifically is more of a residential build, so it has a lot more unique window sizes. It's not our standard 4x3 window frame, which I know if I put it in the middle of a rib or the middle of a flat, it's going to be perfect. I've got to actually lay these out and make sure that they're going to work for our steel layout. And I'm going to mark all of my window locations on this lower girt, and then we'll end up using a laser to, because this window is up high, we'll use a laser off of this mark to make sure that we're perfectly plumb from this point, because as we install our steel, we lay it out, everything is going to be based off of this girt line for layout spacing. All right, so this next window I don't know about exactly, because it's a very unique size for us, and according to the plan, it's centered out at 22 feet. Okay, 22 feet is not really a good dimension for laying out a window in a steel building, because it doesn't divide by 3 foot, it doesn't divide by 9 inches, which means it's not necessarily centered on a rib location. So 21.9 is a rib location, which means I might have to shift this window to 21.9 or move it over 1.5 inches to 22.1.5 so that I'm in the center of a flat of the rib. And when I say center of rib, center of flat, a panel has the high ribs every 9 inches, and then the flat area between those high ribs is usually about 7 inches wide. So that's kind of the space that we have to work with. Every 9 inches is a rib, and then 4.5 inches in between those points is where we center out a flat area. So this window is 30.25 inches wide, which means cut it in half, 15 1/8. Let's go ahead. 15 1/8 is here, and if we go 15 1/8 this way, we're right here. Now, there's a rib at 21 feet, which is good for this side because I'm at 20 foot 8 7/8, and on this side I'm at 9 6 33.3. So this corner or edge of the window is actually right at the center of a rib. That doesn't really work for me. I don't like that, and I've got room this way. It'll be a lot easier if I move this over to, let's say, the 22.1.5, which is going to be the center of a flat. Then if I shift my window over just that 1.5 inches, now I'm going to be almost, I think I'm actually going to be really, really close to centering it perfectly off of these ribs. So that is what I'm going to do. It'll be just past each rib, about 1 inch. That works out pretty good. I was making sure though, Greg, it wasn't in the center of a panel, because that would be a pain in the butt.
Oh yeah.
Because it's under 3 foot wide.
Yeah.
Luckily, it is literally gonna be almost all on one panel, but we will be cutting out from another panel, so that works out good. So that's a good thing to think about with windows that are under 3 foot wide.
Yeah.
You want to make sure for ease of install that you have a panel joint somewhere in that window. I'm glad I'm smart and I think about those things.
I wouldn't call it smart, maybe lucky.
Experienced?
Lucky.
Experienced.
I'm lucky, but luck. I think we'll go with luck.
But luck didn't bring me to think about it. Luck.
Yeah, it's just
luck.
By chance that you thought.
By chance it worked out, but by experience and knowledge, I thought to check it.
We'll go with that.
That's right. So I understand sometimes you can't necessarily change a window location because of, let's say, if you've got a kitchen window that you want to be right over a sink and there's, you know, other things that have to line up to make everything work, and you have to put something somewhere. But with this layout where we're working, we've got the leeway to shift things a ½ inch here or there. We move this one 1.5 inches. We move this one 1/2 inch. We had to do that because we don't want the building or the window to leak, and it gives us our best chance of making a leak-proof window if we are able to shift those windows just slightly to, you know, work with our steel. Love it. So now that I have the header done, what I'll do is I'll measure down and install, ooh, Greg, oh, that's another issue. We're gonna go right through this grade, or this wainscot nailer, but not actually all the way through it. Actually, I take that back. We are completely below it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. Thanks for thinking it through with me, man. Mm-hmm. All right, man. Awesome. I'm glad we had that time together.
I just fed you a little bit of my brain energy.
Yeah, that's all I needed, man. I just needed...
Bro, you're like the cell phone, I'm like the battery pack. You sometimes you just need a charge.
I just needed somebody without any, like, that wasn't going to give me any input back, that I could just bounce ideas off and then give me like the, yep, sounds good, Kyle. I like that idea. That's what I really needed. You're a great sounding board, Greg. I mean that in a very nice way. So now we have the header and the sill. What I'm going to do is go ahead and transfer the center line that I already marked out down to the location here. And that will be the center of the box that I'll install. I also went ahead and marked the center of my window itself. Make sure I'm flush. A little bit harder to do with this 2x6 right in my way, Greg.
You help?
Yeah, I'll take it. I'd rather be perfect than prideful. Good?
Yeah, flush up whenever you're ready. Wall where you want it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, brother.
We make an okay team.
Not bad.
It is a struggle though right now.
Now whenever we cut this framing, we have this 2x4 blocking on the back side. That is going to be cut to the dimension of the window plus 7 inches. 7 inches because we want to go up 3.5 and down 3.5. That way it's flush on the bottom. It just gives us a nice frame of reference to make sure that everything is fitting together nicely. And then what we're going to do is cut out these boards in between 3.5 inches over. That's going to give us a nice 3.5 inch face frame around the entire frame of the window, giving us a nice place to mount all of our flashing details, mount the window, and just have an all around nice solid feeling window frame. I'll go ahead and take my square, mark 3.5. Should have had my hearing protection in. Oh well. I'm the one that will pay for it. So now we're going to want to make sure we've got the blade at the proper depth. And then we've got our other board here that's going to fit, or should fit, right into this location. And then we'll screw that off. Once again, I'm using GRK screws because I want to make sure that this frame is as consistent and tight as possible. So when we go install the windows, get on the inside, start trimming it out, we have the best chance at having, you know, I guess perfect trim work without having to do a whole lot of work to make it look good. So that's how you frame in a post-frame application. Well, I should say that's how RRBuildings does their windows. A lot of other guys do them very similar, and it's been really successful for us. You know, when you get into a really large window, and as you will see later on, we'll actually add some, you know, stiffeners or some supports there in the middle just to aid in the installation, so we don't want the weight of them sagging anything until we get our steel on, which even then, you know, depending on how it's framed, you have to worry about it or you don't have to worry about it. The nice thing is the way this is, this won't go anywhere, and when we put our steel facade around it, and the bottom is going to be entirely plywooded for Versetta stone, this is not going to sag, it's not going to go anywhere, and we've got a nice solid box, a nice solid surround to do all that we need to do to finish this detail out. Good?
Yep.
All right, right there. See the green laser dot? That way we know we're plumbed up perfectly from the window below for the center. This is where it's nice to be friends with Diablo because their blades are amazing.
Bro.
No big deal, dude. It's a Diablo. Watch this.
You just buff it out and...
Yeah. That's what happens sometimes in demolition. Hey, look at that. Brand new, perfectly straight.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. I'm going to edit that out. Nobody will ever know that I just bent my Diablo blade. All right, we've already got our center location from the laser. I think there's a good way to do it instead of cutting into the 2x6.
Yeah.
Right there.
No, come on.
Your way?
No, your way. A little bit. Oh, too much. Yeah. Nothing but perfect.
You got your hearing protection in?
Yeah. Wait, I'm good.
What do you got over there?
21 and like 3/8 is tight. Want to quit bouncing it? Oh, dude.
Cool. So now we got this window framed in, and it should be perfectly plumb in the center line to the one right below it. So you have a porch, you'll never see it, but it's good to at least do your best, right?
Yeah, do your best and fuck the rest.
It doesn't really go in this application though.
No, it always applies.
Well done, man. Well done. My hero.
Is it snack time yet?
Another day coming to an end here on site, and I think it was a good day because we finally started laying out windows, getting those framed in so we can start to really put a picture on this building other than just a big box. So that's what I love. I know it seems like, you know, we throw this massive structure up in a couple days and then, okay, what are you guys doing? You know, it doesn't take a whole lot of effort other than the physical kind to put together the box. But once we get to the point where we got to start doing the detail work, we got to think about more than just the task at hand. Like today, we were talking about window frames, and we had to think far enough in advance to think about how the interior was going to play out, which is something that we don't normally really have to do. So, just taking a step back, making sure that we, cross our T's, dot our I's, like that sort of thing, make sure that everything is going to be good, because we are the guys that are going to have to do a lot of the interior trim work, which means I don't want to have to do more work than I have to. So the more time we spend now making sure that things are square plumb, the exact dimensions, that is going to save us time in the future, which is going to make our jobs a lot easier and hopefully the end product a lot better. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and if you did and you want to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, that's awesome. If not, maybe you'll hang around for some more of these builds. It's going to get great. I think we're going to start working on some roofing very soon as we tie up the rest of these framing details. And that I'm excited for. The standing seam roof. I know a lot of people are asking why we're doing sheathing on this roof. That is for the standing seam roof. It's non-structural, so we need that. And if you want to know more, make sure you stay tuned. We'll catch you guys on the next video.